Jimmy, get out. Welcome back to Diecast Resurrection. Today we are going to be working on a trailer. Now you guys are admiring my Chevy C60 dually. These are made by M2s. I think they just came out. This is the only one they had at my store, so I bought it. This is where Jimmy's going to be chilling for this video. So what I've done is I have designed a tilting car hauler trailer. I have 3D printed. As you can see, still got the base and the supports and everything, so I got to clean all that off. I made 2 different decks for it. So we're going to have to make this a functioning tilting trailer. And I knew you guys weren't going to let me get away without having some sort of deck boards in there. So at the last minute I printed one that has a recess in it. So I could put some deck boards in there if I want. They'll be about 1.5 mm thick. I'm probably going to use my Dremel for most of this, and I'm just going to start cutting away some of these supports. We'll get this all separated and start going to town. Usually you can just break the supports by hand. Using the Dremel though, you're not putting any stress on any of the parts. Last thing you want to do is break your piece you've printed. So I'm going to put the big disc on today. We're going to mask up and we're going to get cutting. So that was a pretty messy job. I was glad I was wearing a respirator. There's dust everywhere. Anyways, we've got our 2 parts here separated. They fit pretty good together. I'm a little bit worried the tolerance is too tight between these 2 pieces. Once I get some paint on them and a little bit of clear coat, that they're going to bind. But to have this functioning without having it binding or ruining the clear coat, I'm going to have to make a little bit bigger tolerances between these 2 pieces. I want to clean up these wheel wells a bit. I got all the supports out of there. So I'm just going to use a Dremel with a little stone bit and clean them up. The scale is pretty good on this trailer. I mean, it all depends on what vehicles you match it up with. Let me just grab something here. So it fits on there quite nicely. Anything larger like this Ford gets between the wheel wells, but it's really pushing it for width. So I'm going to do a little bit more work on these edges. I'll thin that out a little bit. I think once I get that done, we could probably mount some axles and start looking at doing some deck boards. So I find when using this resin, a nice 400 grit works really good. Let's see about getting some axles on here. And then that'll help determine where our little pivot point is going to be. I have a suspicion it's going to be right behind the kind of center. So I'll make up a couple axle tubes. I'll pick some wheels out. Probably just some plain old Steelies or something. But we'll figure that out in a second here. So I've got some wheels picked out. I'm not sure if I'm going to paint them yet. But they're kind of gold Steelies with a little thin little white wall. Kind of retro. I like them. And just cut out a couple pieces of tubing. I'm filing out a couple grooves here to get my axle tubes nice and flush and get these wheels sitting as low as I can. So I'm just going to make sure everything sits nice and flush, and then I'll just glue these tubes in. But I won't put the wheels in yet. We'll do that after paint. Yeah, that should work out. It should work out just fine. Yes, yes. Sweet. So I'm going to give that a few minutes just to harden up before I go any further on that. A couple little details here I'd like to do. I was thinking maybe we'll make a little hand crank for this jack. Maybe we'll even do the little bottom section here. I'll see what I got for styrene, if I got small enough parts. I just gave a little spritz with a little Insta set to try to speed things along, but I'll set that aside for now. Maybe we'll look at doing some deck boards for this. What I was going to use for deck boards is some of my little mixing sticks I use. The problem is the stick alone is as thick as the deck. So I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to cut these down in half. And I was thinking we'd need like a nice belt sander or something. And it gave me an idea. So I'll be right back. So I got this thing, which is pretty cool. It's a knife sharpener made by Worksharp. This is the Ken Onion Edition. And it's kind of basically a little mini belt sander that you use for sharpening knives. Comes with a bunch of different belts. And I've had this sitting in a box for, I don't know, over a year for sure. I used to have another channel back in the day when I would review things. This was one of the items left over from that. I haven't really touched it since, but this might be our answer. Let's try it out here. So let's see how this thing does on wood. I put the most aggressive belt I have on here. Let's see what we can do with the stir stick. It's taking a little bit of time just because this isn't the right kind of belt. This is a belt that's made for steel, but it is working. So I should be able to sand down a couple of these little stir sticks and make some nice skinny deck boards, and we'll have a legit looking deck. So, I like this. So I've done four. Four should be enough. Four should be enough to get our deck covered. Pretty handy little tool to have anyways. In the back pocket. I'll leave a little bit extra on there just so I can kind of sand them, get them into shape. That works way better. Hey man, that works way better. I'm gonna bring back the little belt sander and I'm gonna just tune these up, get them to fit. One of them's gonna have to get kind of skinny because 4 doesn't fit. So I'm gonna have to trim one. No problem, no problem. Those all fitting in there pretty good. So I'm going to put these to the side for now. I'll save these, obviously. I'll get rid of these. So there's no confusion. We'll save these deck boards. Okay, let's figure out where this is going to hinge. That would be ideal. The majority of the weight of the truck would be past the pivot point, so having the truck on the deck should keep the deck up. So that's kind of how it would be in real life anyways. So put another piece of brass tubing on the trailer itself, but with tabs on either side of this little deck that fit into a little channel of copper tubing on either side. And it'll give us a nice little pivot point. Yeah, that should work. Give this a few seconds to dry before we work on it again. I could get this out of here. So we're just about ready to go for paint here. I've scuffed everything up. As you can see, I added a little hitch, an actual legit little hitching point off a hay trailer that I had. Came with one of these trucks when I bought 2 of these. One of them was broken, and so I had an extra trailer. We got an actual hitching point that's going to match up with that truck, so that's probably where this trailer is going to live. I finished off our little jack with a little styrene pad and a little handle in there. So that should look really good when it's all painted. Everything will be black for the most part. I think I might do the reflective striping down the side, you know, the stickers. I got the logistics of this figured out. When there's a car on there, it does stay flat, so that's nice. Beep, 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 beep. I just got a couple little pockets made that receives my piece of axle tubing. And it'll just sit in there really nicely like that. So at this point, I'm going to give this one more good cleanup. A little soap and water, probably toothbrush lightly, just to make sure I get all the dust and the residue off, and then we can go ahead and start painting this bad boy. Hell yeah. So I'll meet you in the paint booth. I'm going to use a little bit of black Stynel res today as my primer, and then I'm just going to do a real light coat. Sure is nice using water-based primers. That's how fast they dry. Almost instantly. So I'm going to clean this thing and I'll let this primer dry for a bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint with a gloss black. So I put a little bit of clear coat on our trailer just so that I could do these reflective tapes on the sides. I don't have a lot of experience painting resin, so I don't know how well anything sticks to it yet. So I didn't want to take any chances, so I just went ahead and clear coated a little bit. I'll pull these off. Hell yeah, that looks great. I already did this side. Looks legit, right? So I do plan on clear coating this again. Obviously, I just did one little baby layer of clear coat just to protect it while I continue working on it. I got some more tapes on the back of our ramp here. I wanted to continue our stickers. Where should I put this? Hell yeah. I like it. It's little things like this that really make it look a lot more legit. And I'm just using the Gundam marker for this. So I'm going to let this dry really good, and then I'm going to go back and clear coat the whole thing. It's going to look really good once it's on here. It'll look like a legit little trailer. Bloop, 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 bloop. This might not be the best truck for hauling this trailer. We got a little bit too much rake in the back here, so only our rear wheels of the trailer are actually making contact. We need something a little bit lower like that. Get that back end a little bit lower, get that trailer level. I think it turned out pretty good though. I mean, I like the look. Bring in the Type 3. Beauty. Remember that little Yeti cooler we did on the live stream? The day we were making little 3D printing things. Here's our Yeti cooler. I finally got it painted. Let's put that in the front. It's huge. Obviously the scale is kind of out of whack for what we're doing. And also painted up one of our little gas cans we did. That looks pretty good. Put that on there as well. Get that all loaded up. Put this big boy on there. I mean, it kind of fits. Dualies are hanging over on the back end a little bit, but the old Ford can't handle. Hell yeah, well, I think that turned out pretty good. It's quite a bit of work. Had a couple little hiccups on this thing, but overall, pretty cool little project for sure, right down to the little metal hitch. I hope you enjoyed our journey building this little trailer. Next up, I'm going to do a Ford Econoline pickup truck, custom paint. It's going to be sweet. I saw the real deal on Instagram and I would like to replicate it. So that will be coming up next. See you later, guys. Oh man, my top 3. How are we going to go to the beach now?